A young woman rides her motorbike through the misty mountains of northern Vietnam on the eve of Lunar New Year. What begins as a simple delivery of chickens becomes one of the country's most heartbreaking crimes. In February 2019, 21-year-old university student Cao Mỹ Duyên disappeared while delivering chickens to a customer in Điện Biên province, Vietnam. 3 days later, her body was found in an abandoned house. The case shocked the nation because of its brutality and because the motive was linked to an alleged drug debt owed by the victim's own mother. Even years later, parts of the story remain painful and disputed. Late afternoon, 4 February 2019, the eve of Tet, Cao Mỹ Duyên helps her mother sell chickens at the local market in Điện Biên city. A man named Vuong Van Hung calls and orders 10 chickens, asking Duyên to deliver them to a remote spot. Duyên leaves on her scooter. She never returns. Her family reports her missing that same evening. 6 February 2019, 2 days later. Police find Duyân's scooter abandoned. Searches intensify across the mountainous area. 7 February 2019, early morning. A local woman, Bui Thi Kim Thu, reports finding a body wrapped in plastic and blankets in an empty house near her home. The victim is identified as Cao Mỹ Duyên. February-March 2019. Police arrest 5 men in quick succession: Vuong Van Hung, Bui Van Cong, Pham Van Hiem, Luong Van Hung, and Luong Van La. All are local residents with prior criminal records, many linked to drug use. Later arrests include Pham Van Dung, Cam Van Chuong, Bui Thi Kim Thu, wife of Bui Van Cong, and finally the alleged mastermind, V Van Tuan. November-December 2019. Trial at Điện Biên People's Court. 9 defendants face charges of murder, rape, kidnapping for ransom, and related crimes. The court sentences 6 men to death: V Van Tuan, Bui Van Cong, Vuong Van Hung, Luong Van Hung, Luong Van La, and Pham Van Hiem. 2 others receive prison terms for rape. Bui Thi Kim Thu gets 3 years for failing to report the crime. June 2020. Appeal court upholds all death sentences. Confessions. All main defendants admitted kidnapping Duyên to pressure her mother into paying an alleged 300 million VND drug debt owed to V Van Tuan. Forensic report. Cause of death: mechanical asphyxia by neck compression. Signs of prolonged restraint and multiple assaults. Phone data: calls from the buyer to Duyên, and later from her phone to her mother demanding money. Physical items: rope, blankets, and plastic sheets matching those used to wrap the body, recovered from Bui Van Cong's house. Witness: Bui Thi Kim Thu admitted seeing the assaults, but said she was too afraid to intervene or report. 5. Courts accepted the motive: revenge for an unpaid drug debt from 2017 between V Van Tuan's group and the victim's mother, Tran Thi Hien. However, in later hearings related to a separate drug case against Tran Thi Hien, several of the same men changed their statements. They claimed police pressure forced earlier confessions and denied ever selling drugs to Hien or knowing her well. Tran Thi Hien has always denied buying drugs or owing money. She insists she has no connection to the men beyond the tragedy that took her daughter. She was convicted in a separate trial and sentenced to 20 years, a verdict upheld on appeal in 2024 despite the conflicting later statements. No independent physical evidence, such as money transfers or drug traces, directly linking Hien to the 2017 transaction, has been made public. The main evidence remains the original confessions of the convicted men. Cao Mỹ Duyên was a quiet university student who came home every holiday to help her family. One quiet detail from the trial stands out. During her captivity, Duyên asked for food. Bui Thi Kim Thu brought her a small bowl of rice and meat. Duyên could only manage a few bites before she was too weak. Her mother now serves a long prison sentence in a separate case. A community in the mountains still speaks softly when her name is mentioned. This tragedy sits at a difficult crossroads: drug addiction, rural poverty, and weak community protection for young women. Think of drugs like a hidden river running under a village. Quiet most days, but when it floods, it drags everything downstream. Or picture trust like a thin rope bridge. One wrong step, and the fall is sudden and final. The case forced Vietnam to talk openly about sexual violence, the dangers young women face doing everyday jobs, and how drug networks can destroy entire families. It also raised hard questions about confessions, police pressure, and whether justice can ever feel complete when stories keep shifting. What we know: a young woman was kidnapped, assaulted for days, and murdered. 6 men are on death row. Their convictions have been upheld multiple times. What we don't: whether the original drug debt story is fully accurate, and why some of the same men later called it untrue. One truth remains unchanged: a life was stolen on the eve of the country's biggest holiday. The 6 death sentences remain in place as of 2025. High confidence they will be carried out unless new extraordinary evidence emerges. Low confidence: Tran Thi Hien continues to serve her 20-year sentence and maintains her innocence. Medium confidence: the drug conviction stands, but family vows further appeals. No execution dates have been publicly announced, typical in Vietnam until the final stage. In the end, no verdict brings back Cao Mỹ Duyên or heals her family's pain. Justice can punish, but it cannot undo what was done on those cold February nights. All information comes from official court records, Vietnamese state media, Toi Tre, Vin Express, Vietnam News Agency, and public trial transcripts 2019-2024. We have aimed to report only verified facts while treating every person involved with respect. Thank you for watching.